The following thoughts and opinions regarding this album are strictly of my own personal interests. I am not a professional music reviewer. I do encourage respectful discussion and friendly banter of each episode, but I do not condone and will not tolerate bullying or belligerence of any kind.
Well, hey there, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Rate the Record podcast, episode 124, the season finale of season 6. We're all the way there now. Thank you very much for joining me. I'm your host today, Chris, as always, sitting here in my studio, listening to albums, doing reviews, having you come along these reviews with me and let me know your opinions too, because that's how music commentary works, this, that, and the other thing. So one more time, thank you very much for joining me. And just before we go any further, I just want to remind you there's one thing, a bunch of things, or all the things I'm about to list that can help support the show. They're quick, they're free, they're easy, and they are the following: like, subscribe, rate, share, comment, and follow. 6 things. Again, quick, free, easy. Your support means the world. Those are the easiest way to do it, so I would suggest doing any one of those. Do it now, do it at the end of the episode, whenever you feel ready, but any one of them would feel fantastic. And of course, you can find all the places to do those things over at ratetherecord.ca. That is ratetherecord.ca. You'll find streaming links, social media links, and of course, the RTR Club, the financial way to support the show. It's optional, but the option is indeed yours. $3 a month will get you early access to episodes. You'll be able to request albums for me to do here on the show. You'll get a shout out on social media and here on one of the episodes as well. If you're in a band, you got music that you want me to cover and review that I can eventually put onto YouTube at one point, I will be glad to do it over there. And of course, just quick and easy Discord with me over on the RTR Club at ratetherecord.ca. Gotta get the spiel out of the way, but if you've been here before, you already know that. So welcome back. Thank you for joining us for the season finale, joining me for the season finale of season 6. Glad that you're back. Glad that you decided to come back one more time for this season, for a little while at the very least. But if you're new here, welcome to the show. I hope you enjoy your stay, have fun. You picked a hell of an episode to jump in on, considering it's the last one of season 6, but you have a whole other season. I mean, the previous season I just did, season 6. You can go back and binge it all, but for now, watch this one. And just in case you don't know what I do here on the show, even if it's self-explanatory from the title, let me break it down for you a little bit. So each week I will choose an album, be it completely random, maybe it was requested, maybe it's an album celebrating an anniversary, maybe there's some sort of special occasion going on, doesn't really matter. Regardless, I will choose an album, listen to it front to back, right here in its entirety on the show, but of course I can only post few second chunks of each, so I don't get my ass kicked by copyright. I'll let you know my opinions on the songs, the entire album, and then of course the bread and butter of this whole damn thing, rank the songs and then rate the record. Hey, there you go. Nearly flawless, but I did fumble a couple times. That's fine. I'm tired and feeling a little like I might be coming down with something, so not 100% in the mindset, so hopefully I can get this episode pretty sharply. And I guess I'd have to do that by actually getting started with things and telling you that episode 124, if you couldn't read the title of wherever you're listening to this, we are taking a look at Spotlight's 2023 album, Alchemy for the Dead. I am wearing the shirt that I bought at a show that I saw them at last year. And on the screen now for video viewers, and maybe if you're on Spotify watching the video version of this, boom, I met Sarah Quintero, who is the bassist and backup vocalist of the band. So that was a really cool experience. Excellent show. Happy to have done that, happy to have been there, and happy to finally be covering this album. I just wanted to end the season off on a high note, and so I was like, you know what? Let's do an album I know that I like. I won't tell you the score right now, obviously, but I wanted to really dive into this one. I'm excited to do it, but before we do that, let me tell you a little more about it. Alchemy for the Dead is the third full-length studio album by post-metal trio Spotlights. The album was recorded at Audio MQ headquarters in Pennsylvania and released on April 23, 2023 through Ipecac Records. The album was produced by band frontman and guitarist Mario Quintero. Also featured in this project is Sarah Quintero on bass and background vocals, and Chris Enriquez on drums and percussion. Enriquez has also featured in many other projects, including Julie Christmas, Primitive Weapons, and many more. The album has been received positively since its release. Blabbermouth gave the album an 8 out of 10, and Metal Sucks gave it a 4 out of 5. The project has been seen as having some of the band's most innovative and confident songwriting to date. The album spawned 2 singles, Sunset Burial and Algorithmic. And there you go, just a little bit more about the album. There's not tons to be said about it. Obviously, there wasn't tons and tons of reviews. There aren't accolades on this thing like platinum records and everything like that, so it was kind of hard to find that type of stuff. But you know what? It did well upon its release, and it's doing well right now. They just had a massive tour for it that lasted about a year or so, and I think they're still technically touring on it. So there you go. It must be doing something pretty well, considering I'm recording this in November 2024. Anyways, with that said, I think we should actually get this thing started with song number 1, Beyond the Broken Sky. And with a very long fade out here, I'm going to go ahead and just pause it at song number 1, Beyond the Broken Sky. This is a very beautiful and intense opening to the album. You have these I can say those two interchangeably because there are just softer sections, but even the heavier sections still fit in well to that beautiful narrative that's actually happening. You have these softer twinkling layers to those crunchier and bassier portions that are going on. They just mix in so well. It's just a really well done, well crafted intro to this album and song all around. I mean, you get kind of a verse, maybe you get a chorus, and that's all you get, but they do a lot with it, and it just builds and builds and builds, and it feels so good. And you're barely noticing too that the song is over 4.5 minutes long, and it's probably an idea that could have been wrapped up in 2 or 3 minutes. But again, that building just feels really good, and I feel like, despite what I just said, I feel like every minute is being used to its advantage. They use every minute and second to its advantage, is what I'm trying to say. Fantastic track to kick everything off. Good start to the album. Let's see how much better, how much worse it gets with song number 2, The Alchemist. And as the song ends, and just before it switches over to the next, I'll stop it so we can talk about song number 2, The Alchemist. Sludgy, slow, heavy. What are the kind of adjectives you want me to use here? But I mean, none of that is a bad thing at all. It's still a really enjoyable track. And then the vocals on top of that too just really helps show that more emotional element to the track. I think those work really, really well together because everything is very low toned in this song, very sludgy, very doomy kind of sounding. But then the vocals are in a higher register, a higher tone. So I think that works really well. I like the contrast of it. And so you're kind of getting 2 different feelings out of the same verse, more or less. And speaking of getting different things out of the song too, there's a toy piano being used in the song too, which I think is such an interesting choice to throw in. It feels like it shouldn't fit, but it actually pairs really well with that sludgy, dark, doomy atmosphere that the whole song is presenting. So I really like that. I think it does a good job of mixing those two. It's not way too stand out. It only happens every once in a while, but you kind of appreciate when it's there. It's kind of fun. And I mean, this one kind of stretched a bit, but I still think it works pretty well together. I don't really have too many complaints about the song, so we're on a good roll still. There you go. So, to the eagle-eyed Rate the Record listener or viewer, I guess, listener with your ear, but viewer with the eye, this song was number 1 on my top NMR songs of 2023 last year. It came up as my number 1 single that I liked the most all year. So I wonder what I'll think about this one. Song number 3, Sunset Burial. The rest is essentially fade out, so I will pause it right there. Song number 3, Sunset Burial. As I previously mentioned, to the eagle-eyed viewer, I guess, I did cover this one on an NMR. It was number 1 on my top for 2023. So I've already said a lot of very positive things about this song, but I guess I'll go a little further into detail, although the videos will be linked above my head in little cards and such. But man, this song is like, it's funny. When I first heard this song, like, it's not that I didn't like it, but I don't think I appreciated it enough. But then when I got to the NMR top 5 at the end of the year, like, it had grown on me a lot, and I fell in love with this song. And I think my appreciation of it has only since increased. Like, it just hasn't stopped. It's been like an endless climb of love and admiration for this track. The song is crafted so damn beautifully. I mean, like, these verses have like these moody, ghostly feeling quality to them. The choruses are just super catchy, and they just keep adding more each time it comes back. And then the bridge really kind of like helps round the whole thing out by giving it more of an aggressive edge. So like there's something for everyone in here. It gives you a little bit of everything. So there's plenty to enjoy while you're listening to this track. And there are so many layers built in all over this track as well that I think it works as excellent set dressing. And you could probably say that for a lot of the tracks on this album, but like this one, for some reason, just feels a little more, because they also work with like a lot more like string and sampling and loop work and everything like that. So I think that kind of really intensifies in like the intrigue that I'm feeling with an entire song. But yeah, like, from the most front-facing parts to like the quietest background sweeps, I just mean like everything is working perfectly here. It was a well-thought-out composition, well-thought-out in production. Everything is balanced so good. It sounds so good everywhere. Like, goddamn. And stuff there also too with drums. It's one of my favorite drum tracks on the album as well. Like, this and False Gods are up there as like some of my favorite drum work on the entire album. There's a lot of creativity all over the place, and I love the use of toms throughout the choruses as well. Like, it's super effective of adding that like extra bit of punch into this track. I just think it's fantastic. And if I'm not mistaken, I did watch like a behind the scenes making of this album thing. It's been a while since I've seen it, but I believe I heard that at least for this track, if not the entire album or multiple tracks, that Chris Enriquez recorded drums in sections. Like, he would do like the snare kick and like the toms and everything like that, and then do the cymbals separately, but had to do it in a way where it all fit to be able to play live. So everything is way more stand out and clean in the drums. You can definitely hear it. If that's the case, you can hear it all over this album. And I think that's a very weird, complicated way of going about it, but my God, if it didn't work. So cool innovation. Drums sound fantastic all over, but the creativity in this one just fantastic. It's excellent stuff. I'll probably talk more about the drums a little bit soon. But first, we have to get on to song number 4, Algorithmic. And pausing it there, song number 4, Algorithmic. This song has such a fun groove to it, like especially when you're just talking about the verses and everything. I mean, every layer just feels so playful with one another, so I think that's just like really fun to kind of experience, especially like that drum groove going on, the bass kind of on it, just slowly going through its own thing, but like it's so fun to hear. And then the strings just kind of like really filling out that soundscape. Sounds fantastic. Strings being guitar, not like, other strings. And Sarah's harmonies too, when she's singing at certain points in the song, it's just a really nice tone and texture to make everything even better on the ears. So again, just more to appreciate and enjoy about this song as a whole. The chorus changes up the pacing a little bit too, but the thing is, like, it still feels really natural. It doesn't really feel suddenly forced, as some songs have been known to do. Not necessarily about Spotlights, but just other bands in general, where it's just like a pacing change that just feels so abrupt and like unwelcome. So I'm glad it works here. It's always nice. And again, maybe this one stretches out a little bit too, but I want to stress that I'm not doxing Mark's because of that. I feel like this one could have been a little shorter, but it is what it is. It's a good song. I like it no matter what, so it's fine. I'm fine with the 5 minutes and 1 second this song happens to be. We will move on now to song number 5, the halfway point of the album, False Gods. All right, song number 5, False Gods. Oh man, the intensity really picks back up with this one. And I mean, like, it's obviously heavy, like, all over the damn place too. So, I mean, That's really great that we're kind of getting that. I mean, most of the tracks on this album are heavy, but like this one really kind of packed it in there for you. And I mean, like, the bass and drum combo is another thing I'm thinking of too. Like just how heavy that is alone, even without the guitars or anything like that. Like the ones that are driving through the verses, they're just really damn cool. Fantastic drum groove. The bass has got a little more of a simple one going on, but it's like wonderfully suited all together. And the sax solo that happens like around after the first chorus or so was really unexpected, but I do like how kind of unhinged it felt. So they didn't try to take itself like way too seriously or anything like that. And it doesn't try to take over the song, so I guess that's fine. I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of it, but I mean, it's fine for what it does, so I won't complain too much about it. I like, it just feels so out of left field to have that in there, but whatever. It's just a strangely unhinged like little moment on the song. And speaking of things kind of unexpected too, the screaming portion towards the end too was like another little surprise. And I know that Mario has done this on previous tracks, previous albums and everything like that, so it's not exactly something that's like completely foreign to the band, but it is usually few and far in between. You don't usually hear too much of it, but like it works here. I like it, and making it quieter and also distorted in the mix actually really works really well in its favor. So yeah, it's one thing I really enjoyed. I thought that was pretty cool that he did it the way he did. Sometimes it's like clean screaming, and it's like done way back away from a microphone, so it's like you can hear the room more than you can hear his screaming, but this one's worked really well. I like this. Anyways, we'll move on now to song number 6, Repeat the Silence. Or will we? Hold on. Try this again. There we go. All right, song number 6, Repeat the Silence. And I'll admit too, like when I first started listening to this album when it came out, I wasn't all that big on this track. Like it's not that I hated it, but just I didn't really see the appeal of it. But I will say that has changed over time. Obviously, like I've been listening to this album for a year and a half now, and a lot about it has changed with me. It's grown on me. I love it. It's fantastic. Again, not that I hated it in the beginning, but just I've appreciated it more. And this is definitely one of those songs that reap the rewards and benefit of me doing multiple listens to this. The more like shallow hills and valleys the song gives us is actually super pleasant all around, because I mean like the verses are like quieter, they're very direct, like front of the stage style presentation, just like everything is right there, whereas like the choruses get more like atmospheric and expansive and everything like that, and it's kind of like they take a step back and just like let you soak it all in. So it's like you get like a good range of depth in the song of like being right in your face and then backing up and seeing like the whole 3D shape of this entire thing. Like I don't know, it's done a really good job in that matter. So I like that. And I mean, I don't know, it's just a good song that has grown on me pretty well over time. And I mean, it's got a fun little ending to it too. I mean, it's kind of in that neighborhood of like a reprieve of the verses. Like it kind of reminds me of that, just like way heavier. I don't know, just I like it. It's a cool way to cap it all off and everything like that. So there's a lot more I'm appreciating about this kind of stuff, and I'm very happy that I've given this album multiple listens over time. I didn't have to, but I did, and my God, I found like one of my favorite albums up there. That doesn't necessarily mean anything for the podcast. It's just my personal thing of listening in the background, but we'll see what that means for the podcast shortly, okay? Okay. Anyways, we can't do that yet because we got to move on to song number 7, Ballad in the Mirror. And we fade out, we hit the pause button, and we talk about song number 7, Ballad in the Mirror. Man, the softer and heavier portions of this song just mix so well together all around. I mean, it makes a song like emotional but striking. It's powerful in far more than one way. And I mean, realistically, this is a pretty effective song on an emotional level. Even if you're listening to the instrumentals, if you're listening to the lyrics, like this one like kind of hits home with it. I think it's done so well, and I think that the harmonized singing really helps with that, like on top of the like excellent instrumental parts of the composition. Just, I don't know, you can really feel the emotion in this one. Even throughout the heavy parts, it's still there. Everything is still good. So like, wow, just another super well-crafted song. This album is full of them. Can you tell? Can you tell there's a reason why I kept this one till the end of the season? I could have done this at any point, but I wanted to do it for this episode. I actually wanted to do this album back in like season 5, I think. I think I was going to, but I ended up pushing it. I can't remember, but regardless, it's here now, and we can move on to song number 8, Crawling Toward the Light. All right, song number 8, Crawling Toward the Light. I mean, God, this one feels a little different, doesn't it? It feels, if you want to call any song on this album like poppy or even having some sort of pop structure to it, this is probably the one you're going to look at in the end, because it's definitely more of a goth rock feel to this one as compared to like the post-metal, doom metal, sludge metal that the rest of the album kind of tends to gravitate towards. The pacing, the tone, and like the overall composition just feels so different as compared to the other ones, and so it stands out in that way, but I think in a very good way. I really do enjoy it. I mean, it's pretty repetitive in nature, but I mean, like, it's honestly really catchy. It's well written, and again, just like, there's so many atmospheric layers to get yourself lost in with this one. So I really don't think that the repetitiveness is such an issue with this, unless you're really just sitting there hoping for like new lyrics to pop up. Obviously that'll be a problem. Other than that, like there's not a whole lot that I dislike about the song. Even the instrumentals, the melodies and everything like that just sounds so fantastic. I love it. It's wonderful stuff. Even with how different it feels, like I really, really appreciate that they actually put this one on the record. And I mean, like, hey, if you want your heavier portions too, I mean, the song is still heavy, but everything built up to that ending portion like so well. It got super heavy and just crushing, and I thought it was excellent. Great way to cap it off. Very nearly capped off the album too. If it capped off the album that way, not certain how I would have felt about it. Like, I would still like the song, but it's like, wow, they should have did something different. Well, they did. They went with song number 9, the title track, Alchemy for the Dead. Well then, quite the quiet way to end that one, huh? I mean, minus the loud parts in that one. Song number 9, the title track, Alchemy for the Dead. I mean, what a unique track this one is. I mean, I know that I already kind of said that about Crawling Toward the Light and how it just had that different feel compositionally and like goth rock and everything like that, but like they kind of went a little more experimental on this one, because like the first half is like this very soft melancholic piece, like performed very emotionally. But then, yeah, more experimentation comes in because the acoustic lead is mainly being played on harmonics, which is just kind of an interesting way to go through the, not the entire song, but like at least the first half of the song and that little bit at the end there. And then you have this like looping, like thumping percussive part that just feels strange and like a bit of an erratic heartbeat. But giving the theme of the song, giving the atmosphere of what we've been given so far, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if that's what they were going for, and I think it fits really well. I like the sound of it. It's not really powerful and like overwhelming and like killing the track. It makes it a little more creepy and unsettling and kind of sad, and I kind of dig it. I really like that. And again, the building in this one is awesome too. I mean, like more and more just keeps spreading on until you get to that really intense and heavy ending. So it just kind of gives you that big crash at the end. But then of course it just kind of quickly goes back into that acoustic piece just for like a 20 to 30 seconds or so, kind of abruptly. But no, you know what? It's fine. I kind of like the way they ended that. I just like that they brought it back down just to show that life has ended. The album is over. I don't know, just It's a really kind of clever, interesting thing that they did there. I really like the way it sounds. It still fits. And I think this song is mirroring a lot of the structural choices in Beyond the Broken Sky in some ways. Obviously, they sound very different, but I think they're kind of structured more or less the same, but that's not a bad thing at all because I like both of those tracks. Well then, I'm going to take off these headphones now because I hate when they touch my ears for way too long. My ears go red and they get hot. But now I can say that we have reached the end of the album, but my goodness, we aren't done yet. Of course, we're not done yet. First, Spotify shoes off the screen, and then the numbers appear. I'm not even going to do a transition. I hope that was just like a hard boom, there they are type deal, whatever. It's fine. I don't have any options for transitioning, nor do I have, After Effects or anything like that. With that said, though, it is time to rank the songs 9 through 1. What did I think of these tracks? I mean, well, I loved the tracks, but now you need to find out exactly what order they come in, so I don't want to waste much more time. I think we should get into it, so let's go. Number 9, The Alchemist. Number 8, Alchemy for the Dead. 7, Algorithmic. Wow, like I didn't even realize the 3 A tracks were like right there, eh? Number 6, False Gods. Number 5, Repeat the Silence. 4, Crawling Toward the Light. 3, Ballad in the Mirror. 2, Beyond the Broken Sky. And as if it was a surprise at all, song number 1, Sunset Burial. It was my top single of 2023. I've been heaping praise on this song. Technically 3. This is the 3rd time I've been praising heap on this song. Just throwing it all on there. So of course it's going to be number 1 on this list. And if you're watching a video version of this, be it on Spotify, YouTube, no matter where you are, and you're looking at the numbers on the numbers and songs on the screen, you can see the scores to each song along the side there. Notice how nothing goes lower than 7.5. Like every song, so even The Alchemist being at number 10, that doesn't even make it bad. 7.5 is not a bad score. It's not my favorite song on the album, but it's not a bad song at all. This is a fantastic album. We have to find out how fantastic, though, by numbers gone, words there, boom, there you go. Another very abrupt cut. It's time to rate the record. How did I feel about this album? Well, if you've been paying attention, you know exactly how I feel about it. I should say that. But now you need a score. You need a letter, and I'm going to give it to you right now. Well, I loved it. So what else can I say besides telling you that this came in, this has to be like a good luck charm of some sort. 88.88%, 88.88. That is an A+ tier album. So goddamn close to having the first S tier album. When I went into this, I thought this was going to be S tier. I was just like, I don't know, I'm feeling it. I love this album. This is one of very few albums I can go through and do no skips. There's usually a song you'll listen to on an album where you're just kind of like that. I can pass by this one. I don't really hate it, but I can do without this one. This album, I go front to back all the time. Unless I go straight to Sunset Burial, I go front to back all the time on it. So, goddamn. What will it take to have an S tier album on the show? I don't even know anymore. The end of season 6 couldn't do it, but hey, 88.88. I don't remember off the top of my head. Maybe that is the highest scoring album. I know the Downward Spiral's up there. I know the Mars Volta's up there. God, I don't remember anymore. Whatever. You can check it out literally right now if you go to ratetherecord.ca. There's a little link that has the chart for the entire ranking of every single episode that we've ever done. And it'll be right near the top there. You'll be able to find it out pretty easily. So, I guess maybe while I was talking, the words maybe probably vanish off the screen. That's fine because we are now done with this album, with this episode, and kind of with this season. Hold on for just 1 minute. But thank you very much for joining me and listening to this album front to back. And if you did indeed listen to this album, please let me know what you thought of this down in the comments below, wherever you're listening. It doesn't really matter because there's comment sections everywhere. I want to know your opinions on this album. Do you like it? Do you hate it? Do you agree or disagree with me? How would you rank the songs? How would you rate the record? All of these things and more I want to know down in the comments. So please let me know. Let's talk about this. I just dished out my opinion to you for nearly half an hour or however long it's been. I can't go by my recording time on here because obviously there are cuts that happen in this podcast. roughly half an hour. I want to hear yours even briefly, so please go ahead and do that. And you can find all the places to do those things too, besides the comment section, over at ratetherecord.ca. Again, that's ratetherecord.ca. Streaming links, social media links. Yes, the album ranking chart is also there. And of course, the RTR Club if you want to financially support the show. And hey, just another reminder, since we're at the end now, you can like and subscribe, rate, share, comment, follow, all that fun stuff. Now's the time to do it since we're at the end. If you didn't do it before, now's the time. Thank you very much if you choose to do that. Oh boy. Yes, the end of season 6, kind of, as I already said. There is one more video coming out next week in the spot of a podcast episode. If you've been with the podcast long enough, or even for just one previous season, you'll know that once we get to the end of the season, it used to be like we do a best of, and then we do the ranking number ones video, but there's not going to be a best of this time around because there's not two people to do dialogue with, and you don't get the jokes out of it, so not much point in doing a best of, unless maybe you can find something to do a compilation of. That's great. But yes, next week is the ranking number ones video. So every number one song, like Sunset Burial Today, for example, that I've chosen this season will be put up against each other, 24 songs, and which one will be the best of the best. This list is always hard to compile because it's like they're all fantastic. How do you just say this is the best? Usually when we do this, it takes like days, if not a whole week, to compile the list properly because it gets difficult. This one's going to be hard too. But regardless, that comes out next Monday, and that should officially wrap up season 6. I'm going to take a few months off of the podcast to kind of recharge. Things have been kind of going on lately, and I need some moments to step away. This was supposed to be 129 episodes for season 6, but we're at 124 because, again, I just want to do this for myself. I need to recharge, need to refocus, and Will come back for season 7 better and stronger and whatever than ever. But just because I'm gone doesn't mean that there's going to be an end to content. As I said, I will be doing the rank the number one songs next week. I'll be doing some more NMRs since I'll have time to do it. Another ILTS video is bound to come out, maybe even 2 if I have the time to do it. And then at the end of the year too, there's the my top 5 favorite singles from the NMR list that'll come out towards the end of December. So make sure you're checking that out too. And also, yeah, go back and binge season 6 if you haven't watched the episodes yet. My first solo season of the show is now in the books. It's been a strange ride. Obviously, it took a while to kind of get my flow without having a co-host with me. But I think I found that. I think I'm comfortable with it, and I hope I can continue this energy into season 7 and make it even better, find ways to improve, all that kind of stuff, this, that, and the other thing. And I hope you will be there to watch me do it too, and to talk to me too, just so you know. Be part of the Rate the Record community. Okay, at this point, I'm just rambling, so I'll wrap it up one more time. Thank you very much for watching this episode. Thank you very much for tuning in this season if you have. Thank you for all the support. I appreciate it. I will see you back in February for a brand new season. There's a lot of time between now and then, so go listen to some awesome music to carry you into the new year, and I will see you on the other side of the calendar. Take care, friends.